Rebellions are built on hope.
Where is it? Oh, there we go.
Out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Star Wars podcast. I messed up my intro. I was just talking about it before we started. I just messed it up. Pop-ups kept going, and it just didn't work. My big joke didn't work. But anyway, I'm your host, Alberto Calderon. Welcome to Ready Rebellion Podcast. And now there are two of them, both hosts of a podcast of Star Wars are here. Oti and Tony, finally together. How are you guys doing today?
I'm very confused with everything that's happening.
I know, I should start again, but it's too late. We do this live, so it happens.
Live
Anyway.
is the best way.
It's like Tony just posted on Twitter, like, oh, you try to get everything ready for a show and you just gotta roll with the punches. And I just messed up. Anyway, thanks everyone for being here. It's Star Wars weekend, at least for us. It's Star Wars Saturday, as always. How's everyone doing? Tony, thanks for joining us. Again, you were here for our first episode of Season 7, and then we finally got you back to do a full show with Oti here. I'm probably gonna regret it at some point today, but we'll see how it goes. How you been doing this week? How is your thoughts on Ahsoka so far, Tony?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and thank you for including me. I know Oti has been hesitant to bring me while he's on the show, but yes, thank you for bringing me. And my thoughts on Ahsoka so far is, damn, can't believe we're here, but wow, I'm loving it so far.
All right, today's show is gonna be a good one. I think it's last week's episode. I mean, Ahsoka's episode was a great one. Oti, we kind of expect, or at least hope, that episode 4 was gonna be a big one. We knew or hoped that all the big fights were gonna happen, and they did. And as a big reveal at the end. People were expecting it to happen maybe on episode 5.
I think it's a big moment rather than a big, because it's we said it in the podcast. It's like the worst kept secret ever. Like, we all knew it, and
everyone knew
it's gonna be there.
Yeah, even Star Wars didn't want to wait. Like 2 hours later, Anakin's back. Here, everyone, we need to find a way to promote this. So here it is. But anyway, we'll get to all that in a minute. Everyone that's watching today, thank you for being here. If you're watching us live, thanks for being here. If it's your first time, make sure you subscribe to our show. Give us a thumbs up and a comment down below if you're watching this later on the replay. And if you're listening to this on the audio podcast when it drops later this week, thanks also, and leave us a review, rating, all that fun stuff. Did you know I was looking at the reviews for Apple Podcasts or whatever, the ratings? Someone gave us a 1 star. I don't know why.
Oh, they did that on my podcast and in our podcast.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't care, but it's like, really 1 star? We really that? I don't know. Whatever.
That's just Oti getting drunk at like 1 a.m. and being like,
Yeah,
1 star.
let me check my reviews and accidentally click on the website. Like, what's your problem?
Yeah. All right. I think we've talked long enough this intro. All right. If you guys are ready, I know I'm ready. Let's talk Star Wars, and it's Star Wars on TV.
Wait!
No, we're coming back.
Ahsoka Tano! There was Star Wars news this week.
Man, that's what we're just everyone's know now that we don't plan anything. We just come on, we talk 2 minutes before we start. Hey, what are we doing today?
I just want to say, Alberto always gives me a hard time when I didn't watch that 5-second teaser of whatever is coming out. But a new book gets announced, and Alberto's like, "Oh, do we really need to talk about it?"
Star Wars news.
And then he'll be like, "Oh, you haven't read it in time." Like, oh.
I will do that. So, Oti, a new book got announced all of a sudden, nowhere. A new book.
I thought it was like a magazine or something.
Same thing. I didn't really put too much thought into it until everyone started tweeting it and retweeting and all this stuff. Like, wait, what's going? So, Oti, since you're prepared for this Star Wars news, what was announced?
So we got a new book announcement. It's called The Living Force. Very weird title. It's
Is it?
written. I think it's kind of weird. But I think every single Star Wars title is weird. Anyways, it's written by John Jackson Miller, who wrote the Kenobi book from Legends. I think he also wrote another book that I'm blanking
New
on.
Dawn.
Oh, he wrote New Dawn. Okay, which is I think is that not the first canon book?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wrote those two books, and now he's writing this book, which is again it's called The Living Force, and it's centered around the 12 Jedi Council members a year before the Phantom Menace. So I think it's interesting. Apparently Qui-Gon's warning them of something, so they have to go like on a field trip or something.
Yeah, so
Yes.
what I remember, and again, I wasn't prepared for this. So Qui-Gon, they have one last outpost. We know from the High Republic, the Jedi have all these outposts in the Outer Rim and everywhere. So this is the last outpost. They're bringing everyone back. They're basically closing out those Jedi outposts on those faraway planets. And Qui-Gon is basically telling them that this is a bad idea. They still need our help. We need to be out there kind of helping people. And the Jedi are like, we gotta be closer to Coruscant. So kind of like a last-ditch goodwill kind of trip, they all go. For some reason, all 12 Jedi Masters from the Council all need to leave at the same time, leaving Coruscant exposed. And basically, not everyone is happy with the Jedi being back. It's a bunch of pirates. We don't know if these pirates are kind of descendants of the Nile. A little tease.
No, I think you're looking too much into it.
Probably, but there's a little tease from Tom Holler saying that if you've been following the High Republic, there's a few mentions that you don't need to know, but there's a few mentions from the High Republic that will make this book more interesting for those fans out there.
So I was bugging you with that because Tony can attest to this. I was telling him like 4 of the 12 council members, like a third, were High Republic Jedi, and the 4th of the council were council members in the High Republic. So
we have Jarrell, we have Yoda, we have Yaddle, and who else?
Oppo
Rancisis. I love
Weirdo.
Oppo Rancisis.
But
I love the name in the other books.
It's interesting that again, it's a very random book to come out. All of a sudden.
Very random, kind of at the heels. Like Phase 3 is still going on because this comes early next year, at some point next year. So Phase 3 of the High Republic is going on. Again, it's a time period that we really haven't explored too much in canon. I wasn't too excited for it, but I'll wait till I get a little bit more information about it. The title is very weird for the synopsis that we got.
Yeah,
it's like the Living Force, and it's just a Jedi going to a planet and something's happening, but we'll see how it.
I don't know. I mean, one of my favorite lines from Qui-Gon Jinn is when he makes the distinction of the living force versus the cosmic force. So I wonder if they're just trying to tie it into the reality of people still suffering and the Jedi being able to help, but maybe not doing it because they want to retreat to Coruscant or what. I'm definitely intrigued. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, that comes out early 2024. So Oti, as we get ready to start our Ahsoka conversation, and I think we're gonna be talking maybe about the Cosmic Force and the Living Force a little bit today. Who's in the chat out there as I get everything set up again?
So basically we have Dale and we have Brandon in the chat. Hey, Brandon.
All right, so hi Dale, hi Brennan. I just want to get a quick shout to, I don't know if shout is the right word, but our thoughts to everyone out there in Morocco and that part of the world that had that big earthquake. Our friend Amy, who lives up there, she's fine. Well, a lot of casualties out there, so all our thoughts.
Literally just found out about this. But.
Yeah, big like 6.8 earthquake in the Morocco area. I think there's like 1,000 people that died already. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, again,
Amy, okay?
Yes, she tweeted out that she was fine. I reached out to her. She said that she's doing fine. Her family's fine. So, it's good for her, but she knows that for the whole place and a lot of people out there, it's not the same good news. All right, so let's try this again. Star Wars on TV. We're not doing the intro. We're doing Star Wars on TV. We're talking.
Ahsoka Tano!
There we go. We got it. I love that everyone knows this already.
I'm gonna tattoo that in my chest, but like
You should.
it's gonna say quote
Wait,
Oti in the bottom.
Tony and I started writing lyrics for it at some point during the week. It was like,
Oh man, we gotta do at some point by the end of the season. We need to have a song ready.
I'll maybe sing it in a couple of minutes.
All right, so let's go.
Jedi now on the run.
Jesus Christ, how far is this gonna go? So Ahsoka episode
Let's have
4.
fun with it, Alberto.
I know, hey, dude, it's on my intro, at least on the segment intro. So let's just go to the end. We're gonna get before we start, Oti. Right as the episode ended, or the next morning, you tweeted out that you had an issue with one of the story beats.
Oh.
Do you want to talk about it now, or just see if it comes out organically as we're discussing the episode?
It'll come out when we talk about it.
All right. Hopefully that didn't sound too weird for people listening now.
Oti hated the episode.
Yeah. All right, so let's just go to the end. Like I said, Ahsoka gets yeeted out of the cliff by Baylan. A great transition from the ocean where I don't know if we're expecting to see her lying there on the cliffs, on the rocks, and she's going to be floating. And a cool transition. I start seeing some different type of waves.
Wait, so we're starting at the end of the episode?
Didn't I just say let's start at the end?
I wasn't paying
He
attention.
just said it. We're doing Memento.
I
Memento, but Star Wars.
I was looking at the Morocco thing, sorry.
All right, so let's start at the end because that's the big thing about this episode is the ending. Then we'll go around. Dude, you're just making everything worse. So anyway, Ahsoka's doing her best Thanos impression when he gets the Soul Stone just lying in this pool of cosmic water, which turns out to be the War Between Worlds. We've kind of expected that the War Between Worlds was going to show up. We did an episode about this a couple of months ago. The only one we cannot trust a little bit with it is Filoni, no one else at this point. And on one end, I'm going to say, through my discussion, this is not how the War Between Worlds works. But on the other end, we really don't know because it hasn't been explored that much. But we hear what I didn't want to hear, but it wasn't too bad. Hey, Snips, and we know it's Anakin. She turns around. Anakin's there, looking like Robert Pattinson in Twilight with that de-aging. And he's there with the Darth Vader lightsaber that people started pointing out, and
it's it's not Darth Vader's lightsaber.
Right, it's with a lightsaber.
It's not that.
I couldn't even tell.
Everybody's reading so much into that lightsaber.
I raised the brightness, raised the contrast. It's Anakin's lightsaber. The lighting is just super weird.
It's very dark.
The anyway, lightsaber is also de-aged.
Yeah, that's gonna make sense. And we get a few notes of Vader's theme at the end, and that's also what took people to what's going on here. So I'll start with you because we talked about the War Between Worlds. It's not really time travel. I tweeted something out about we really don't know what it is, and I got like 30 responses. Well, actually, it's very easy. And you just don't know Star Wars. If you don't know the War Between Worlds, you don't know how the Force works. And some people saying
meanwhile, Filoni's at his room like, how does this work?
Yeah, I gotta figure it out by next week. But
why didn't you let me do this, Kathy?
Like 7 different responses, from purgatory to breach in the Force to just a way for Filoni to keep Ahsoka alive. Anyway, is this Anakin in the War Between Worlds? Which, again, unless he got pulled out. Is it a Force ghost? Is it a vision? Is it Darth Vader without the suit? What's going on here with Anakin? Or first, like you said, we expected this where it was a surprise when it happened. First time that you saw it, Oti.
Oh my god, so many emotions. Like at first, like seeing I called it the Rainbow Road, the World Between Worlds. It was so overwhelming, like seeing it looked so cool. And then, of course, I thought it was gonna end there. I was like, "Oh, this is perfect."
Yeah.
But then, like the scene lingers. I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna happen, isn't it?" And then we hear Anakin's voice. But at first, I was like, "Oh, maybe she's just like like when Ezra, you hear the movies." Yeah. And the shot is framed in a way where she's obviously covering something with her head. Mm-hmm. So I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna do it! They're gonna do it!" And then, of course, High Snips. I'm like,
Yeah, and I said it. I didn't want the high Snape, high Sky guy. She didn't reply. Didn't fit.
It went exactly as I told you it would.
And I'll say it didn't bother me. It was fine. It worked fine for the scene.
Because it suddenly didn't turn into this goofy scene like, oh,
Yeah.
we're friends now.
Ahsoka's not in that kind of mindset, like you've said before.
Oh, she will be.
I think it also helps that it's the first thing that she hears, so it's still kind of like she's not sure what's happening. I feel it would have been different if we had been on a shot on Hayden Christensen being like, "Hello, Snips." Like then maybe I would have felt how you would feel, Alberto. But yeah, I mean, he said it.
It was again unexpected because at least on social media, everyone expected the Filoni episode, which is next week, to be the big one with Anakin's kind of reveal. So I, like you said, Ote, I thought, okay, she's in the war between world. Okay, it's gonna happen. This is where the episode ends. But then we got that extra like 5 seconds, which were great because yes, the worst kept secret, but the reveal still worked for all of us. So really enjoyed it. And then it's like you get the hints of the Imperial March. I know the caption said Darth Vader's theme. Then it gets me thinking, okay, what's going on here? Because is this Anakin's Force Ghost, which is the first thing that comes to mind. But then what would you get the Imperial March there? If you're thinking about the war between worlds as we know it right now, unless someone pulled Anakin out, he can't be there. So is this just a vision of her, like a dark side vision, and she has to go through some trial now to get back to it? And of course, everyone's waiting this to be the Ahsoka the White moment, Gandalf, Harry Potter, like everyone, they quote unquote die, go to this kind of middle plane. A revelation needs to happen for them to come back. And we're all expecting that to happen. But at least, Tony, for yourself, where do you see this? Because you said people are putting too much stock into the lightsaber. Maybe I'm putting too much stock in those little notes at the end. Where do you see this Anakin apparition at this moment being? And for Ahsoka, what does this mean?
I mean, at first thoughts was, yes, this is Anakin, it's his Force Ghost, and we're gonna have the classic Force Ghost conversation of why did you do this? I did this because of that, and that you learn from that. As time has passed, I'm not trying to put a lot of thought into it because I do want to be excited by the episode and not let a lot of my expectations fall into it. This being the world between worlds, there is so much that could be happening. Could this be the sun? Could this be just another cosmic force entity like the sun taking over? I don't know, Anakin's physical appearance. Could this just be her own mentality trying to put a face to something that she can't understand? Whatever it is, I think this is going to be, obviously, like you said, Ahsoka's turning point in terms of where she was and where she needs to end up in. But I think she'll finally get that closure that she needs. I feel like even though we did get that amazing conflict in Twilight of the Apprentice in Rebels, she still doesn't have full closure with Anakin and why Anakin did what he did or became who he became. And I think she still needs to understand that. So that's where I think we're going. That's where I think this is going to be leading us to, she doesn't understand how Anakin, the person she left behind, could turn into Darth Vader. So that's where I'm at. And again, I don't want to put a lot of thought into it. I don't think like the lightsaber thing. It's like, I don't care. I don't care whose lightsaber that is. I care what Anakin has to say, really. That's what I care about.
So it was funny. Ote, I want to hear your opinion on this also. But on the episode a little bit before this, when Baylan and Ahsoka have the conversation, he's basically, why did you leave, Anakin? You just walked away. All this stuff. It may be, again, she's just trying to come to terms with what happened. For you, at the same reaction that you saw it and thought, oh, Force Ghost, here we go? Or do you think this is something else? I'm leaning more towards, because Cetos is a weird planet. We know the Night Sisters have been working there. It can be a virgins in the Force, so they can not a dark side cave, but something similar. We know that Rey went through something similar. So I see it as this is her dark side moment, basically, her dark side vision when she has to confront Anakin. And I think they're going to have a confrontation right there and there for her to then kind of pass to kind of get over that step. But where do you see this, Oti? When you saw the episode the first time and now like 3 or 4 days later, what are your thoughts on it?
So the first time I saw it, I thought it's a Force ghost, like, and I'm honestly still clinging to that. I still think it's probably a Force ghost, and they just look different in the world between worlds.
I think perspective has something to do. It's like how you see something, that's how Ahsoka last saw him. So that's how.
That's why he looks de-aged. The world between worlds de-ages you. So
not too well, but
that's what I'm clinging to. I think I'm liking the idea of maybe it's like a dark side cave, like maybe a dark side underwater cave, and she's drowning. But I don't really want Ahsoka and Anakin conflict. I think that's done. That happened. Like if you haven't watched Rebels, I'm sorry. It's a great scene. Go watch it. But if it is a dark side cave and Ahsoka's gonna go through some creepy things, which I think that's where the episode's gonna lean, regardless of where they are. I would like it if Anakin is there as a guide. Like, you're about to go through something very crazy, and I'm here for you because I was a dark sider, and I'm gonna help you out. Because again, I always think of it in again, Filoni's writing the story; he knows where it's going. But I try to think of it like Star Wars has to be relatively simple, and the story needs to move forward every single episode. And how does the story move forward if Ahsoka and Anakin have to fight now? Like, what's the lesson she learns? Like, I'm not really sure what that is.
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna say here part of the thing I read before the season started. It's one of those kind of scoops from people.
A leak? Okay.
A leak that had similar. It had to do with the war between worlds and something between Anakin and Ahsoka that I don't want to see. So I don't want to even talk about it. But Tony, do you think even if it's Anakin as a Force ghost helping Ahsoka through different kind of scenarios or a dark side, do you think that she's gonna see different kind of scenarios from the war between worlds, as we know, maybe Anakin, the different stages of Anakin falling, and see how she reacts in turn? Can she save him on most of her? She's going to try to do something through those different scenarios in the Force war between worlds.
Yes, I think we'll definitely be seeing something like that. I mean, we have to understand that the point of the World Between Worlds episode in Rebels was so that Ezra could understand that he can't change the past. He couldn't save Kanan. He could save Ahsoka, but he couldn't save Kanan. That's a weird thing. We'll let Filoni explain that. I won't get into that. But I think the same way that we've been somewhat recycling some of the same beats from Rebels for the people who hadn't seen it, we'll get something similar with Ahsoka looking at these events from the past and understanding that she can't change them. If she were to change them, she would mess up the entire universe as we know it. And I know everybody's always talking about the world between worlds and time travel and how we can change things. And I don't think that's the point. I think it's just understanding that while we see time as linear, it is not. And there's obviously like this circular event to time and space and all that shit. And we can get into interstellar talk if we want to, but we don't have to. It's more that things are happening almost at the same time in this world. You just have to let them be. Things will happen as they happen, and we'll get to the point we need to get to. So I think Ahsoka will just need to learn that, yes, Anakin has to become evil for then Luke to be able to bring balance to the Force and save all those beats that we've already seen and know. This isn't the time to retcon shit,
When I do this episode, after we finish here, then tomorrow I do everything to get it on the audio podcast. And there's always a question that say, is there, what's parental advisory or whatever? And I always click no. I knew that today with you two here, the expertise, we're gonna be flying. So I'm gonna hit that. Yes, sorry, this is not for kids. This episode.
Oti and I have no.
The 5-year-olds that listen to this podcast. Oh my God! Imagine.
I will say my kids sometimes listen, and
Don't
today's
let
gonna
them
be the
listen,
one.
Alberto, especially if we're here. Like,
Yeah,
don't do
that should just put a notice on it.
First of all, your kids should love us like family.
Come in. Look, meet your uncles. Oti, does this mean that Ben Solo is back? Ben Solo, we're getting him.
In the United States, there's a right where you can just plead the fifth and not talk. So that's just exactly what I'm gonna do.
I know that this doesn't work. They supposedly doesn't work like this, but I love that people just jump. There's so many Ben Solo girlies, we're back. This is it, and people got mad at it. And like, just let them. Like, they're just having fun. Just let them have fun. But are we gonna? In this scene hopefully with Anakin, because we still don't know why Ahsoka stopped training Sabine. Kind of, Baylan said, "Oh, you left your apprentice," and he tells Sabine on that scene when he's doing the "join me," kind of, "Oh, I won't leave you like she did." Is this gonna be hopefully Anakin and Ahsoka having that conversation, and she kind of coming into terms to, okay, I need to put that behind me so I can be a proper master?
I hope so. Yeah, 100%. Like,
yeah.
All
right, is she coming out with the white robe and being all?
I told Tony,
staff.
like, think about, Gandalf and Ahsoka. The parallels are there. Filoni has made sure to make them clear. When did we last see Gandalf the Grey? Falling, and he rose like a phoenix. So I expect to see Ahsoka fighting the Balrog. Yes.
I told Oti the next episode has to start with Ahsoka falling down while she's fighting a dragon in the sky.
It's gonna be a Rancor just all
with a lightsaber.
From the lowest dungeon to the highest.
Oh man. So how I was complaining last week about Ezra doesn't change his clothes, and then I love at the when she was gonna fight Baylan, she took out her coat and threw it. So she needs something. She's gonna come out with a new outfit just because she died.
Rose. Yeah. Before we stop with this conversation, I just want to make like a point. I look at everything. I try to look at everything very practically. So I'll just I know we all have these theories of everything that's gonna happen. This is what I think is gonna happen with the World Between Worlds. They'll have their conversation, but. Getting ahead of myself, we know Sabine is on her way to the new galaxy. So I think Hera is going to use the Purgles to go to that galaxy because we know that Chopper fired a tracker to...
Purgles to travel to other galaxy with tracker. Okay, don't get ahead of my notes.
No, okay, the World Between Worlds. So I think the way Ahsoka's going to get to the other galaxy... We know what's on board the Chimera. The Chimera had fragments of the temple. No, I was the one who pieced together the theory. So I think she's gonna find a door and be like, "Oh, another galaxy, very convenient. Oh, I'm on board the Chimera." And Sabine's gonna be like, "How the hell did you get here?"
So I was gonna ask, who pulls her out? How does she get out? Do you think it's just not that simple, but
the same way Ezra did?
I think she finds so. There's an interesting thing, and this is what I had mentioned to Oti, is that Ezra goes into the World Between Worlds through what I'm calling the Wolf Portal. This is the portal of the wolves in Lothal. In Cetos, we see the same circle, but with Purgles instead, in the kind of like star map that gets turned on. So she's basically going from the Purgle door to the wolf door, But yeah, I mean, I do think that my only thing with the tracking is that I'm pretty sure we established in The Last Jedi that hyperspace tracking is not a reality until that point. But I know
not hyperspace tracking.
You can't track a ship while in hyperspace.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. It'll be out there. All right. What if she goes through a portal and comes out in the shop in Andor because he has parts of the...
it
just shows up.
What are you doing here?
Wrong one. Like in the Flash, just her head. Wrong galaxy.
I'm so far.
Or she comes out in Exegol, like, what the hell am I doing here?
And that's how she pulls Ben Solo out, and then you...
Shut up!
Ahsoka Tano.
All right, we're gonna keep going, but Oti, there's a lot of chatter in the chat.
I'm not tracking it.
At least who's here? Because I know there's new faces. Let's just say
yes,
hi to
yes,
some of our
yeah.
friends.
Hey,
Hey,
calma,
friends.
Calma. Mo is here. Hi,
Mo.
Mo.
Alan is also here.
Alan.
He came in
Alan.
singing.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, guys, I'll keep an eye on the chat from now on, but I have not been keeping track. Sorry.
That's fine.
Hope that those conversations are very insightful.
And I just picked one, and it's from Dale, and he's saying, no, it's not the son, it's just her near-death experience. However, her familiar, the convoy Mora may be involved. The daughter opens temple portals to the world within world. The son closes the portals. Well, thanks, Dale, for being there.
Thank you, Dale.
And then, of course, somehow Ben Solo returns.
Shut up.
He won't, not like this, but we'll see. All right, so let's go a little bit to the lightsaber fights. Some people for episode 3 were a little bit that not a lot happened. There wasn't a lot of action, but of course we had that very long spaceship fight that was very action oriented. But we got 3 lightsaber fights, 3 big ones here that I think were choreographed great, especially for the different type of battles that we're seeing, like Sabine against Shin. These are 2 apprentices, so it was a little bit messy. I love that she used all her weapons. She started with her Mandalorian thing. And I said here, what I said, Sabine, she's going to reach out. She's doing the raid. The lightsaber is going to fly to her.
I thought of you and only you. I think it was one of the best bait and switches in Star Wars.
It was great because Shin reacted the same way. She looked back at the lightsaber, or are you pushing me? What are you doing? No, just wrist rockets to your face. Did you enjoy this fight? Again, Shin was a great one.
I love this. I love everything with Sabine in this episode. I thought it was phenomenal, truly. It was a great fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tony.
I have to agree. It was just spectacular. I think not only Sabine playing to her strengths, but then having to resort to the lightsaber as a kind of like last case scenario. But even the hand thing and then shooting the wrist rocket, it's like that's the most Mandalorian thing you could do, you know? So it just felt so true to her character. And again, I'm just obsessed with Shin Hati, like her hatred,
she's awesome,
her demeanor, just like how much hate she has for this person that she doesn't even know. It's like we were talking, Oti and I were talking about it, very like Thanos and Scarlet Witch, like I don't even know who you are. It's like like you just met and she just hates her with her entire being.
Another thing I was telling Tony, it's very interesting because Baylan is not like that at all. He's like, he seems like to be like compassionate of sorts, and he's like kind of regretting having to do this, but Shin's like, no, let's do this. Like,
I hadn't put a lot of stock into the whole like Norse mythology wolf thing with the names, but it's like that's exactly the description of both characters. You know, the bad wolf that can't be controlled, and then the good wolf that just has to like find a way to find this place, you know. So
I don't want to, at the end, I want to end most of our conversation today talking about Baylan and Shin. What's Baylan's plan? What's he playing at? And we'll finish with that. I love Shin. I love that fight. I love that she just went with a ninja smoke and just throw that smoke grenade and just yeet it out of there. But Tony,
I love her. We heard it in the trailer, but I love her line delivery. And you have no power. Like,
it works a lot better in context. I've just seen the whole thing play out. But we gotta give it to Sam Witwer because his acting range is great. That he can play a smoke monster. And we all like, come on, we gotta clap it up.
Who knew he could mocap like?
So Tony, we've been saying here, Marok is just Marok. And not even that, he's just a puff of smoke. Are you okay with this? Were you one what are they set up this great villain? Or were you kind of expecting this?
Oti and I have been joking with Marok since it started. And like, yes, we've had theories and yes, we've been thinking about it. But at the end of the day, I could care less. You know, like it's just another random villain that whether it be at the beginning of the series or the end of the series, was gonna die. So
Yeah.
I really don't care about him. I do like the idea that they're setting up behind him, if it is what it is, like the whole like Night Sister reviving thing, like it's pretty cool. That's a pretty
Yeah.
cool backstory.
He
But
could still come back because
Yeah.
they can just bring him back for any reason. He's just there just to fight again. Oh, that'll be interesting.
yeah, or the kind of like I was thinking about the same way that they did the Rise of the Red Blade book to talk about
Mhm.
the Inquisitors and that stuff. Maybe we'll get a Marok story, I don't know, 10 years from
Rise
now,
of the
you
Black
know?
Smoke.
Yeah. Rise of
green
that
smoke.
one guy you saw for 4 episodes.
No, Alberto,
No,
it's
that's
a
fine.
trilogy. So we start with Rise of the Black Smoke, then we start with Rise of the White Smoke, and then we go to Rise of the Green Smoke.
The green smoke. There we go. Rise and end.
Is green smoke when they burn Yoda's body?
And the Black Smoke. Right? No, okay.
All right, we're not doing rainbow here. So Hu Yang
That's
fought
actually a
droid.
song by Greta Van Fleet, but okay.
Oh, I'm thinking about.
Oh, you mean Led
Great
Zeppelin?
band though. Great band though. Rainbow.
Thinking about Rainbow and what's his
Rainbow.
name?
Dio.
Dio. He's got a great song.
I love that band.
It's one of the greatest metal frontmans ever. Like 2 feet tall. Doesn't matter.
We're all
But Hu Yang went toe to toe or metal against metal against his HK droid. Great fight. I love it because we know he knows a little bit because he does the training with the lightsabers. I love that he was able to do this Terminator fight like in the mall in T2. King, help! I love
We
that.
finally
fight.
got some droid on droid violence.
I love all the droid designs in this show. Like I love in Andor the little weird aliens that we got. I'm loving all the droid designs here. Do you enjoy that fight, Tony? Were you surprised that Hu Yang was able to put up a little bit of a fight?
No, I
against-
think. I mean, aside from the thing that we got in episode 3 of him training Sabine, yes, he is a lightsaber whatever developer in the world of Star Wars. But it's kind of like those things, like if you know how to create a lightsaber, you know how to use it.
Mhm.
So I do feel like, and I think Oti mentioned this to me when we were doing our episode. It was like, oh, what if he like General Grievous did, and like all the hands and all the lightsabers. But I mean, I loved it, and you know, it's something about just seeing droids fight each other that I really like. You know, there's no stakes because there's no like real life involved, but at the same time, I'm like, Hu Yang, please don't die.
Don't say there's no life, because
No,
if
I-
something happens to R2
don't
or
agree
something,
with
this is
cried
when we
with
kick you out.
3PO in Rise of Skywalker. Like,
No, we were,
Yeah.
and I was talking about it with Oti. It's like R4 in episode 3 that literally gets destroyed by buzz droids. Like, I'm like, that's the worst droid death we've ever seen.
Well, we didn't know R4 by that time. A little bit.
You don't know who I know.
Yeah, you don't know
sorry,
what
you're
droids
right.
I like.
That figure was in Toys R Us like weeks before that movie. And you're
Not
now
like
telling me
now.
I don't care? Like, no. I'm
I
sorry.
will say I did love the sequence of events of Hu Yang basically destroying what he had fixed
Yeah.
on the ship to make sure that Ahsoka and Sabine knew what was happening.
Yeah, we needed some flex tape to fix Marok. A little bit of flex tape, fix him up. I love that Hu Yang called for help, which sounds dumb, but how many movies just yell or just call out for someone? And he yelled for help, turned out the lights, and people kind of knew.
But also, like, he gets his, like, they put a hand on his mouth. So he can't yell. I'm like, you're a robot. Just raise your own volume.
That's like one of the silly Star Wars things that I love. When
Yeah.
they started to cover his mouth, I'm like, is this really happening?
His vocalators back here, anyways. So we got Hera. We expected that once a rebel, always a rebel was going to be her define orders and going out to help. We got that scene, but another surprise, we got 4 X-Wings joining, and one of them being Carson Teva, who's 5 X-Wing, who's everywhere now. He's the connected thread. He's the
He's the
Sam
Nick
Jackson
Fury
of yeah,
this.
there we go. He's the Nick Fury. Nice seeing him there and going to help.
Yep.
I was surprised. It was one of those things that I immediately texted Oti as soon as it happened. I was like, Carson Teva! But like, it's just a cool little thing. It
Yeah.
like, it could have been anybody else, and I probably would have just been like exactly the same amount of enjoyable, like in terms of a scene. But Yeah, it's Carson. He's
I
connecting everything.
I was gonna ask, but I see your face. Go ahead.
Alan took the bait.
Oh,
Carson, but
Alan.
no Seb. The minute I saw the X-Wings, I first thought like, okay, Zeb's gonna be here. And when they showed everyone there was no Zeb, I was like, okay, here we go. Zeb was supposed to be there. Zeb was supposed to be there. And I'm glad he wasn't, because after what happens, I was like, thank God he wasn't there. I'll just say this. Zeb and Carson do not appear to be in the same team. They're apparently co-workers who run next to each other when they're at lunch or something. So
just I can't walk into a bar and see people that I know. Come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Zeb and Hera are not in good terms.
Do you think? Because I saw a few people, and it was today. Because I was same thing. Her. I'm like, where's Seb? Not where's Seb, but maybe it will be cool to see Seb, or we're starting to maybe make some connections. He'll show up. For people that don't know Rebels, they might know, oh, I know Carson, and then when Seb shows up, I saw some people saying, oh, it's episode 5 is where Din Djarin is going to show up, because we know that he's helping the New Republic and all this stuff. I'm like, I think that still hasn't happened.
That would be so random.
That would be very random.
It was, I don't even know why I clicked on that tweet. But is there a chance, do you think that at some point Seb might show up, or now that they're heading to a totally different galaxy, maybe not?
I mean, maybe. I don't think he'll be in the other galaxy, but I think there's still room for him to show up. I don't know if the rest of the season will be there. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But maybe at the end of the... Or maybe Filoni just didn't like how Zeb looked. It's like, nope, no Zeb.
No, I feel like...
He looked better than Anakin.
I think we will need to have Zeb at some point, even if it's... And I feel horrible saying this, but even if it's like an ending, like end of the episode ceremony, putting medals on everybody kind of thing, and he's just there.
That's what I'm thinking.
But also, he could just be like the kind of the Falcon of it all in like Endgame. Like the battle is happening, everybody's like fighting, and suddenly like on your left, and fucking Seb comes in with like his X-Wing patrol and whatever, save the day or whatnot. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he comes in and he's like, oh, fuck this, turns around. But I mean, we need him. We need Seb.
No, we don't need Seb. Seb.
I need Seb in this.
He's expensive, and casual audiences don't know who he is.
You just sounded like my kids when we say we need to do something, and they say no. When I said we need to do this, and we don't need to. You want to? I'm like, shut up. I thought you were gonna go. We don't need Seb. You want Seb. I think we're saving him for the movie, because we know that Seb and Ezra have that big brother, little brother relationship. I think that reunion is gonna mean something for those characters. I think that happens sometime in the movie.
I hadn't thought
after
about that.
Ezra has been saved, and then they meet back up and have a big hug. I did enjoy Hera coming. She took her son into another galaxy, which might not be the best parenting move.
No, they went to another planet, not another galaxy.
But all right.
Although maybe Uncle Zeb comes in and is like, I need you to take Jason because I'm.
You had experience babysitting Ezra and Chopper.
Be like, hey, Jason, stay in Cetos for a while. I'll be back.
Stay with Huyang.
Hey, Huyang I think he's going. And I'm afraid, Oti, like we talked last week, that Jason he doesn't have a lot to do. He's not going to be too important. I think he's going to be more.
He had one of my favorite moments of the episodes.
He did, yes. I was going to say that.
When the ship takes off, man.
I know.
He's like, Mom, I had a bad feeling. I really like that scene because it was very ominous. And that scene was so cool, like seeing the ship.
So let's talk about, because those were two of my favorite visuals of the whole episode. First, the Eye of Sion just coming out from the clouds looked so beautiful and awesome and cool. And then when it went to hyperspace, when she's like, just go. I don't care about those 6 ships there. And the way it looked, the way it exploded, all ships just thrown out of whack, and then the trail behind it. Perfect.
Yep.
I love everything that Peter Ramsey did with this.
Sick.
It was. What else do I have? All right, so let's talk about Baylan. And what's Baylan's plan? Because Ahsoka basically goes to him, hey, so starting another war. That's what you want to do. And he's like, I don't care about the war. I'm not starting it. Thrawn is, so good luck with that. But I have other ambitions, and he's talking about sometimes to create, you need to destroy first. And then we see that he's trying to get Ahsoka Sabine to help him, kind of join me because your master didn't do right by you. And I think he needs Sabine to get to Ezra. I don't know. I think Baylan is more interested in Ezra than in Thrawn out there. What do you think is his plan? What is he looking for out there?
At that point, he needs Sabine because Sabine's gonna shoot the map. So there's that. I don't know what I honestly have no idea what he wants, and I like that. I like not knowing. He's very ambiguous about everything. Like he's just saying these grand plan quotes that we've heard a million times, but delivered by Ray Stevenson, so it's awesome. I don't know. I'm really not sure what his plan is. Like at times, I thought he would just want to stay in the other galaxy. Maybe he wants Ezra. Maybe he wants a world between worlds. I don't know.
You have any thoughts, Tony? Because I'm thinking about this today, and it's kind of a long shot. But not that he wants to start a new Jedi Order, because obviously he's not a Jedi. He doesn't care about the Jedi. But maybe his version of Force users, because I think he treats Shin like a Padawan. She has the Padawan braid. There's no indication that she was a Jedi before this. I think he has her, sees that Sabine, not she's force sensitive, but might be something there. I think, like Oti said, of course, he needed to convince her not to destroy the map, but he could have just killed her right there or turn back on his word that we're not going to hurt you. I think he knows, because he dropped Ezra's name real quick. I think he wants Sabine to help convince Ezra to join him or something. You think Baylan maybe is trying to start his own versions, not the Sith, not the Jedi, not just his own kind of sect of Force users? Maybe Luke is doing his own thing right now. He doesn't want to be part of that. What do you think his plan is right now?
I mean, I hadn't thought about that a lot, but now that you mention it, there is kind of this element of Baylan understanding that there are not that many Jedi in the universe right now, and even to the point where he's like, it would be a shame to have to kill Ahsoka. Like he says that to Morgan. So I do think that he sees force sensitive people and or even anybody who could become a Jedi as a potential initiate. One thing that I had mentioned to Oti before is like, could it be a possibility that Baylan was one of the Jedi who was out in the world looking for younglings during the Clone Wars, and finds Shin Hati? She's a youngling. She takes him like under his wing. Same thing he's doing with Sabine now, and he'll want to do the same thing to Ezra, as you mentioned. So I do think that there is an element of trying to convince the rest of the people to join Baylan's little group. But also to like Oti's point is like, I don't think he's fully aligned with Thrawn and Morgan in terms of the end of it all, like the war thing. I don't think he really wants a war. He just knows that war is inevitable. Like he can't stop it. So he's just gonna do what he can to keep his life. I see a little bit of like a Boba Fett in him in terms of like, I'm just a man trying to make my way through the galaxy, and like, this is who I have to align myself with to get to where I need to get. But I kind of like that idea of like him wanting to do his own thing. They're not Sith, they're not Jedi, they're not like, they're kind of evil, but who knows?
I just want to mention one thing. I would invite everyone to go back and look at the scene when he talks to Sabine, because everyone's like, oh, he picked up the name Ezra, like there's something there. I think he's reading her mind because she's very emotional, she's very unstable, and there's like I was just looking at it just to make sure.
There's a little change in the.
He's holding his lightsaber when he sees her picking the thing, and he closes his eyes. He takes like this very deep breath, and then turns off the lightsaber.
Yeah,
sort of being like, okay, I got you. I know where I'm gonna go with this. So I just think he doesn't specifically want Ezra.
Okay.
I think he just knows what to say more so than like, oh, we're gonna get what you want as well. Like he just knows how to control people, and I do like that mind reading thing. Like, and they played to it before. There's a point where like he's like thinking about stuff, and Morgan is like, oh, what are you sensing, Baylan? And Baylan is like, there's something in
determination.
Our way, you know? So I do think that he just knows the same way as like Palpatine kind of like knows how to play people, Baylan also knows how to play people. But I do think there is an element of true belief there for Baylan. Like he does want something. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah. When I watched it again, it's like 2 hours ago, I did pick on that, Oti, when that happened. Like, wait, is he reading her mind? It's very whatever, I forgot the word. Anyway, it's very small there, but it can be.
And also I think he's helping Sabine because maybe saving Ezra doesn't foil his plan. Like, again, we don't know what it is. So maybe he's like, you know what? Just bring her along, have her do her thing, and just have no one bother us. Like, just do this. That's one of my favorite things so far. It's all this unknown, because we know from episode 2 or whatever, it's like, oh, power like we've never known or something waits us in that region. Yeah, I just mentioned the Ezra thing. Like Ezra is not that powerful unless he sees Ezra as a way to get to the world between worlds because he's been there before and then use that to change something. We don't know, and that's what's really exciting. Before we kind of finish, we didn't talk really about that lightsaber fight and the conversation between Baylan and Ahsoka, kind of jabbing her a little bit, trying to break her with the Anakin talk, and it's like, Anakin never mentioned, like you said, Tony, like, I don't even know who you are. It's like, Anakin didn't even care about you. But that fighting style, just very berserker, just, I'm gonna rip you apart. This is probably one of my favorite lightsaber fights I've ever seen. I love how long it takes for them to fight. First of all, I love that Baylan puts up his hood so he can
no
take it
reason.
off. Like, just the dramatic in him.
I just imagine him being like, oh, she's coming. And like sitting on the rock. Oh, she there? Oh,
it's breezy. There's still a lot of breeze. I remember it was cold.
Yeah. But I love how long it takes them to fight. Like how they're like, you know, in Spanish it'll be like tanteándose, like seeing which angle they take. Like, and Ahsoka attacks first. Like, she's the one and he's the one defending. It's interesting. Yeah,
they're measuring each other up, and they change stances like 3 times before the first blow.
This is super cool.
Yeah, and I love that scene because it's not just in the woods like the other two. It's in this place with those rocks, all the map going around, very beautiful shot. And each blow you think can kill any one of them. So it was a great scene. I was asking, why doesn't Ahsoka just turn on her second lightsaber? I know she needed her free hand to grab the orb, I'm guessing, but maybe with 2 she could have battled him a little bit better.
Says Alberto, who has never used a lightsaber in his life.
I'm gonna grab both. I'm gonna go just break.
I'll just kill you with one blow.
I think there's.
I'll be like Marrow. You cringe.
I think there's definitely an element there of, and of course we've seen it in the original Star Wars trilogy, and Filoni just continues to expand upon that. The fact that the Jedis themselves are inspired by Japanese samurai and how they fight, and samurais have 2 swords. They have their long sword and their short sword, same as Ahsoka. And when you fight one-on-one, you fight with only one sword because you need all your power there. And I kind of like how they integrate that into her own fighting sense. Like even with Marok, like she only has 1 because that's all she needs. She knows that she can continue the fight with 1 rather than 2.
But 2 lightsabers look cool.
She used 2 when she came out of the ship to battle.
Because that's
droids.
That's to deflect. It was to deflect blasters, which is.
I'm with Tony on this. I'm with Tony on this. Like counterpoint, it looks cool if she used both of them. I agree, but I agree with what Tony's saying.
Oh well, I don't care. So let's finish with Sabine, and we talked. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, Oti, about there you go, your wife. That was there going to come a point where saving Ezra or defeating Thrawn was going to kind of separate them. and that played a big role today since the beginning. I mean, on this episode since the beginning, when she's, "Oh, can I count on you? If we can save Ezra, no one should be able to go to the galaxy." And then we have that choice at the end when she's able to destroy the map, but she's convinced not to. Are you surprised that this happened? Did you enjoy the way that it kind of played out? I said, no, let's move this forward to see where it goes.
Without knowing, you directed the question to me, which I like. This is the story beat I did not like.
Okay.
So what I was telling Tony, like, it's a similar beat to what happened in the first two episodes. In the first episode, Sabine trusts her with the map, asks her to do something. Sabine says, "Yes, that's what I'm gonna do," and then does the opposite, and then the bad guys win.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, we're doing the same story beat again. Like, okay, whatever. When she was like thinking about what to do, probably everyone was like, "Sabine, no, like, don't do it." I was like, "Come on, Dave, like, let's be smart about this. Like, let's have better writing." It is what it is. I understand her reasons why. Like, Ezra's the only family she thinks she has left, so I get it. But I just wish maybe then not have that story beat at the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah. I understand. I didn't see it that way, and I'm glad that it didn't happen because I want to go to that other galaxy and,
of course,
see what the hell is out there. And we knew we were gonna get there some way. So just you started mentioning it earlier, and I cut you off. It's okay. So they're gone. They destroyed the map. There's nowhere to get there. No, we were told last week that the Purgles use these hyperspace lanes to the galaxies as the migratory path. They put a tracker on one of the hyperspace engines, so that's how we're gonna be able. How they are gonna be able to get to the other galaxy, correct?
Yep, I agree. Yeah, that's it. And Ahsoka will get there via the world. Oh, but there's a shot of Hera walking through the Stonehenge thing with a gun, like looking. So what is she seeing? Is it like Ahsoka the White?
You mean the
is it
trailers?
Darth Vader? Yeah, in the trailers. There's a shot of her walking through the rocks with.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go find it and see. Maybe she doesn't know what she's going to be confronted with, and she's just walking with her blaster, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Because Su Yan told her where she was, but we'll see. All right. Anything else? I think that
gas
brings
of
an end.
Marok just
Marok trying to put himself back together.
No, wait, it's Kanan, so they have a moment.
We got Kanan's photo came back to life.
Oh yeah, we saw a picture.
Photo of Scooby-Doo.
Everyone, I just want to say something. Everyone was like, "Oh, we need to find out if that's Freddy. Like, if that's Kanan, if it's Kanan. Of course it's Kanan. Who else is it gonna be? Like,
yeah."
That's one of the most, I don't want to say iconic, but one of the most obvious things that every fighter jet, in every movie that has a fighter jet, they have a picture of their family member just hanging there. So yeah, it's him. But I love how attentive to detail some of these fans are. Because I watched this episode 3 times, I missed it all 3 times. But people just freeze frame that, blow it up, and then, oh, it's Kanan, let's find out from where it is. I think someone said it's made from not just Freddie Prinze, like people are saying they just grab Freddie Prinze and put him there, but from the New Dawn novel or from one of the Kanan comics. There's a similar picture thing with his hands up. It doesn't matter. It's a cool nod there.
it's cool.
All right, so I didn't do it last week, but let's go to Rebel Thoughts because I have a few things from people out there. So one of my favorite parts of this show is when we hear from you guys in Rebel Thoughts.
Well done. You're a rebel now.
Well done.
Well done. I'm going to say for people out there, I told Oti before we started, for some reason there's a delay on all my videos. So I'm always 2 seconds late. So I'm going to show this because I forgot to show this last week, actually. So this, and I don't want to, when I tell people, hey, send us your comments because we're going to talk about them on the show, and then I don't do it. I don't want you guys to think I'm not happy. I just forgot for some reason last week.
You're such a diva, Alberto.
I know.
Such a diva.
I don't like your question. I'm not going to show it. So last week I asked people after episode 3 just their thoughts on it. And Dork Wars, the podcast at Dork Wars Podcast, said, a fun episode, but didn't push the plot forward. 5 episodes left. This is about episode 3, not 4.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This is the one I forgot to bring up last week. So I just want to give the opportunity I think it did push that plot
I
forward.
see.
Again, wasn't very action, but we learned about Sabine and Ahsoka's training. We learned about the Purgos migration, a lot of more things with Morgan Elsbeth, more with Hera. So I think we did push the plot forward. What do you guys think about episode 3?
Completely agree.
Yeah, we moved it. We didn't move it forward by like a mile, but we moved forward definitely. Like I love how we got the Mon Mothma scene and like the cabinet. Like I really love that, knowing where the New Republic is now. Like, and yes, like understanding Sabine and Ahsoka's relationship more. I feel like in and of itself, that's more important than us getting to a planet or like going somewhere new. You know?
Yeah, and sometimes the plot can wait if it means the characters get to interact and explore those connections and situations.
That's what TV is for, also.
Yes, of course. All right, so we also have. Where's not freaking showing? Come on, get out of here. Hide. So Conundrum, and I'm so sorry. Here we go. Conundrum at Jedi Lights Matter said, at this point, specific to the war between Worlds and Anakin Vader, my thoughts afterwards were cool, cute. So that happened. Guess we'll find out. We'll maybe find out where this leads next week. Because I don't do pointless expectations or speculations, which vastly often destroy joy, in my opinion. So when I want to focus on that last part in terms of fan speculations, and then when things happen on the show. Mm-hmm. Tony, do you feel the same if we speculate too much and then, like, let's say Marok, if we speculate too much and then either what we said was going to happen happens and then we're not surprised, or it goes a total different direction, and then we're, they messed up. Why didn't they meet my expectations? Do we do too much sometimes, like speculating and expecting things to happen?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's like, it's such a subjective question because it has to do with who you are. Like, maybe even 5 years ago, I would have been completely destroyed if my speculations like didn't happen. But now I've learned, I've grown as a fan and as a geek. So everything that I love to a high degree, but I'm never disappointed by anything. I kind of like try to move on with it and learn what I like, take what I can from it. I don't think we speculate too much. I think at least the three of us here in this room, we're pretty good at like letting things go when we have to. Star Wars fandom in general it's so difficult to like pinpoint the people who will be able to let things go and who won't. Like I just don't know. I think it's more about who you are and understanding that you can have as many speculations as you want, but you are not involved in the show. So whatever happens, you need to accept it. You can't just, unless you work at Lucasfilm, like really your opinions don't matter. Like, yes, they matter to you, and yes, they're important. And of course, we love to talk about, like, Oti and I talk constantly about shit that we want to see and shit that we want to happen, and like, oh my god, who is this person, like all the time. But once the thing happens, we let it go and we move on to the next thing, so yeah, that's like kind of my opinion on that.
Oti, did Tony just tell the fans that they suck and that Lucasfilm hates their fan by saying their opinion doesn't matter? Where are you with speculations in terms of, do we do too much or is it okay?
I'm not sure that's what Tony was saying, but that's definitely what I'm gonna say. Like, I don't care about your opinions. No.
Screw you guys.
No, I love speculating. I freaking love it. But I'm the kind of person that whenever I sit to watch something, I just put all my speculation in a little box and just put it away. I usually never even remember why I speculated because, I say it here, I say it on my show, I say it online. Like, I don't know. Like, so it hasn't really ruined the fun for me. It always takes like a little bit of, reeling to see, okay, I expected this. What did I get? Like, unpacking it. But it for me, it hasn't taken away my enjoyment of it. And I think part of the Star Wars community is that, like, us throwing theories into the air and hoping they come true and then having them not come true. And I think the issue is when you get pissed off when they don't come true. And that's when I get into Tony territory. Like, you're not writing the show. You're not the one getting paid to do it. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily shut up, because I love talking about it and I love going
it's shut up about complaining about it not coming true.
It's the complaining. It's the like, I can't believe they did this. It's like, who do they think they are? It's like, they are the people who got hired to do it. So let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind, again, half our show is speculating. I try not to go and search for speculation. Sometimes I see something and then let me click on this comment, and then there's 5 different comments about people speculating, and then I have too much. I'm like, oh man, now if this happens, I already read it. So I try to stay away from getting more information that I need. Speculating is fine. Like you guys said, none of us here is going to, Marok, we said 10 weeks ago, that's Ezra. No, we saw how the story played out. It didn't make sense, so we're glad it was just Marok. We don't care. But if I start looking at 10 different shows and everyone has their own different speculation, what's Baylan's plan? And then, that happened and I read it on this tweet. If I didn't search for 2 hours, maybe. So that's the only thing. Don't go through a rabbit hole looking for 20 different things that make sense, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings an end to our show today. Woo! So thanks to everyone that was here today. Let me see if I can find Alan, Dale, Mo. Oh, obviously, Subdued. Sorry we didn't get to you before. Dr. Hu Yan, of course, with David Tennant.
That's a great one. Love
and
it.
And if you haven't read Brotherhood,
I got it.
You got it now?
I got it.
You got it?
Oti, shut up.
I love In Brotherhood
I have a life. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Brotherhood by Mike Chen. He has Hu Yang, and there's a line that said people think he came on a mysterious blue box from a different galaxy, like a nod to Doctor Who because of David Tennant. So it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Dale and Brennan that was here earlier also, he might still be around. So thanks to everyone for being here. Tony, I'll ask you because Oti never likes to say where people can find it, but where can people find you out there,
Sure
Tony?
thing. So you can check me out at Oti and I's podcast, Film Not Included. We're gonna try to be there at least every week now. And I'm also gonna be showing up in at least the Ahsoka episodes for Epe Star Wars with Oti, and you can also find me in my own page, Collectoni 52. It's a little collection page that I started recently talking about movies and comics and a little bit of everything that I own. So that's where you can find me.
All right, so you know where to find us at Radio Rebel Pod. Still everywhere, still on Twitter, still on the other ones, Blue Sky, which is there. You can read our review of Tales of Light and Life on our website, and also From a Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi. Hopefully after Ahsoka is finished, we'll do a spoiler review here of Tales of Light and Life. You get your copy, Oti, or not yet? I know you were still waiting.
I'm actually checking the tracking.
All right.
It arrives on Monday.
I'm picking mine up tomorrow.
Right. I want to hear your thoughts on that Barnes & Noble edition, the extra story that I didn't get a chance to read. So that's going to be fun. Right, we'll do that at some point after Ahsoka is done. So thanks, everyone, for being here. Stay safe, be safe, and may the Force be with you.